Welcome one and all, this is the Peace Dealer, and in this video we're going to talk about Lilith in the 7th house. So in contrast, when Lilith is in the 1st house, this indicates someone who embodies all of Lilith's characteristics and is an instrument of Lilith. When Lilith is in the 7th house, these are the relationships you're going to attract. The partners you attract into your life are going to have themes of Lilith. I actually have Lilith in my 7th house, sitting in Sagittarius. My mean Lilith is in Scorpio, right by my DC, so I'm definitely aware of this energy. I have not been in a relationship, and I know it's because of Lilith, and it's not necessarily blaming Lilith, because Lilith will not stop relationships from being in your life. There's more into why, but I know the influence of Lilith in my 7th causes certain erotic vibes to be expressed, not directly by the Lilith in 7th person, but that's just what's going to come to the person you're in a relationship with. So at one level, you know what I'm saying, Lilith in the 7th people have to deal with attracting unfaithful partners in their life. The Lilith in the 7th person is going to attract people into their life that are very irresistible, and people who find them irresistible as well. You're going to attract people in your life who are obsessed with you. Like they're obsessed with having sex with you, or they're just obsessed with being around you. And it can be very hard to maintain realistic relationships with these kind of people, because they project these vibes, erotic vibes at you, which could work very well, but it depends on what your Lilith is aspecting. Another thing, however, though, is those people with Lilith in the 7th house also project their lust towards anyone they're with. Since this is sitting in the 7th house, anyone you relate with on a one-to-one level is now sitting in the position of your 7th house, and Lilith is going to influence them. Lilith is going to influence their thoughts. Lilith is going to influence their behaviors. So they could be around any other person, but when they're around you, because your Lilith is in the 7th house, they're going to start thinking erotically. They're going to start having certain thoughts that take them away from the conventional way of doing things. They're more willing to, get out their comfort zone around you. They're more willing to do things that, they wouldn't necessarily do around other people, because there's this erotic vibe that is at the forefront of your relationships with people. And it could really cause those in faithful relationships to get tempted, especially married men or women with their Lilith in the 7th house, more so married men. Married men with Lilith in the 7th will not go throughout a day without being tempted to cheat on their partner, because the energy and influence isn't there. And you could be single for years and no one wanted to get with you, but as soon as you're in a relationship, you're going to get tempted for sure. Unreasonably tempted. And we're talking about Lilith, so we're not talking about per se you're a married man and you see this hot lady across the street. We're talking about you're a married man and that hot lady walks up to you and starts feeling on you and wants you to cheat. Yeah, real temptation. Women with their Lilith in the 7th are going to be the ones who tempt other men. Now, not everyone with their Lilith in the 7th will be the tempter, but this is the influence that Lilith will bring around you. And it can be hard for you not to make people feel a certain way, because they will catch those vibes. Lilith in the 7th house also makes one very sexually seductive to those who they relate with, and also to the public at large. The 7th house is a presidential energy, but it could also be an energy of a leader. It could be someone who goes out there and actually focuses on the other person. So Lilith will project, well, not project, but Lilith will give the Lilith in the seventh house person a certain sexual flair that most times the Lilith in the seventh person isn't even aware of. And so it can make them come across as more sexual than they intend to be. Even if they don't consider themselves sexual, there's just going to be that kind of attitude and awareness for that Lilith in the seventh. Another thing about Lilith in the seventh house individuals is that when it comes to sexual expression, there could be a certain level of rejection that comes in your early years. Maybe you're a late bloomer because you weren't necessarily allowed to connect sexually with others in your early years. Or maybe anytime you did, there was just a certain level of unacceptance for it, and that could cause a block for those. On the flip side, it could be a hyper acceptance for it. You might be exposed to sex at a younger age because you find that it's easier for people to get sexual with you even once they met you. You'll find this very quickly happens in fire signs as opposed to when it's in earth signs and there's more time for it to mature and grow. So that's a little bit about Lilith in the seventh house. Lilith in the seventh house people add an eroticism to their relationships that is very spicy and can be very addictive. They can get their partners very obsessed with them, and they themselves like to be in relationships with people who they're obsessed with, because if it's nothing heavy, if they can't necessarily feel super lustful for their partner, they're not really going to be as interested over time. So until next video, y'all.